Hey everybody, it's Neil here from NIMBUS CO, and I'm joined by Trent Knox in the 440 Run Club in the beautiful surrounds of the Standard X Hotel in Fitzroy in Melbourne on the eve of the Melbourne Marathon tomorrow morning. Who said Melbourne doesn't have good weather, huh? Look at the sunshine, not bad, eh?
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Place to be. Now, the reason why we're having this pre-marathon chat is to talk specifically around recovery. Now, recovery, no matter what part of health and fitness you're in, is often the one thing that's not done enough of, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's saunas, running, going to the gym, we always try and do things at high energy. We don't spend a lot of time slowing down and recovering. And whilst you might have done a good run or a good gym session, if you don't do the recovery, it will take longer for you to recover off the back of that. I know for sure, especially at our age, when you start going into your 40s, we're not young kids anymore.
Definitely not.
Don't prioritize this stuff. You'll really feel it. And I wish I had known about this as I was going up through school, 18, 20, 21. Who knows, could have prolonged a little bit more out of my own football career. So we're here.
Yep.
It's the night before recovery.
Melbourne Marathon.
What does recovery mean to you, Trent?
Recovery now, it's important, like you said, as we're getting older. And we're not 21 anymore. And even when you were 21, we should have been implementing recovery. But recovery now allows me to keep doing what I love doing. And we've been used to, especially men, we just want to go at it. Like our relationship with exercise and sport is pushing ourselves, and we enjoy that part. We enjoy the endorphins, but then we easily push aside the things that we need to be able to keep doing that. And so recovery for me now is allowing me to still run marathons, still do the things that I grew up doing, which for periods of time I've come away from because I've had niggles, I've had tension in the body, and I haven't been kind to myself in the body in recovery. So now I need to be doing it as much as the work.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the old days, if you had 7 days in a week, if you had a race or a soccer game, whatever it may be, you'd train hard do the other 5 days of the week.
Yep.
Then you'd have your game, and then you'd usually just walk like an old man the next day kind of thing. That was the cycle that I used to be.
Yep.
Is there a magic mix today on like in a week, let's say of 7 days, how many days should you be prioritizing to recovery?
Look, if I take a practice like meditation, and I've been doing that for years, and the difference between me meditating once a week or doing it twice a day every day is light years apart. And I think that if you're going to be implementing daily practices, and daily practice could be breath work, it could be getting up early in the morning and going for a walk on the beach, it could be saying prayers, it could be writing a gratitude list, that you should be doing recovery every day. Without a doubt, recovery should be done every day. If you're moving every day, you should be recovering every day. And to your point, like finding that time, and we spoke about it earlier, there's 1,440 minutes in every day. And if you look at that approach, we should be able to find that time to maintain the body.
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I did my Vedic training, meditation, you're only taking 20 minutes twice a day out of 1,440 minutes in a day, but then you say, I don't have the time. And there's always an excuse. There's always something that gets in the way.
Yep.
Have you ever found any particular things that, I know you talked about maintenance a lot. So when it comes to recovery, it's easy just to not do it, right? What are the things that help you focus on recovery?
I think, and I'll use as an example, I just did the Sydney Marathon, and it was 2 months after I did the Gold Coast Marathon. And I didn't perform as well as I thought I would have, and I had to get honest with myself at the end of the race. There were things I hadn't done in the lead up to it, so I knew why I didn't get the result, and so I made a decision to change my food, even the way I was training, recovery. So every day that I didn't want to eat what I should be eating, I thought about how I was going to feel on the start line. So every time I wanted to pick up something I shouldn't have, or I didn't want to stretch, or I didn't want to do that recovery, I was like, okay, how do you want to feel on the 31st of August? And I just kept reminding myself, and for 2 months I got it right. Not perfect, but I got it more right than before, and I just kept thinking about standing on that start line, knowing I'd done everything I possibly could to give myself the best chance.
It's funny you mention that, because when you don't feel it in the moment, but when you're in a game or whatever sport it is and you're coming up to the 40th kilometre out of 42 or whatever it is you're doing, that's when you feel it, right?
Yep.
And you get a stitch or you get something like that and you go, I shouldn't have done that thing.
And straight away,
And it's too late.
what you didn't do and what you could have done more of. And I guess if you work on your daily practices, and some people call them daily habits or whatever they may be, and you practice them every day, then they become part of your life. And if you go back to the numbers, we've got 1,440 minutes every day to make the most of. And that's finding time to eat the right food, finding time to rest, finding time to train, finding time to hydrate.
I even tried to find time to do absolutely nothing. Like nothing.
About to say, booking in the time and to rest.
And I don't mean just necessarily go, it could be a nap, it could be sedimentary, it could be watching a show. And at our NIMBUS Live there last week, Tom Cronin spoke about it. Dedicating these time blocks for you to be able to do this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And he said, even if it's just a lunch break, dedicate your time to have a lunch, to have a break. And if that's watching TV, that's fine.
Yeah.
But dedicate that time, because if you don't, you end up in this inertia where you can't really improve. And is that all the adage of a good diet's not trying to make you a better player, but a bad diet's going to make you a worse player? Is that the same when it comes to recovery and running?
Yeah, like you notice, and I think also, I like to use the word practice because the initial stage of anything, there's a level of discomfort. It might be changing your food or changing the way you train, and there is discomfort, but the more and more you keep doing it, it gets easier. And so if you turn it into a practice that every day I need to do this, I need to do that, over time, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 18 weeks, you're like, oh, I'm actually really enjoying it, because finding that time to rest, people find it hard to rest because their mind's overworking, overthinking, and they're not used to sitting still. They can't even sit still for a minute or two.
It's hard for a lot of people.
It's hard.
It's hard to stay still because you feel, I think nowadays as well, because we're so connected, everyone's trying to be successful. Like, if you do stay still, you then get guilty.
Yeah.
You think, I should be out there trying to get that sale or...
Exactly.
So we're here today anyway, speak for just 15 minutes. Really just to put it literally to the test goal.
Yep.
And the time that we're having this chat is all you really need to dedicate to this. And we mentioned earlier on about dedicating time to rest, yes, which can be having a nap, but it could be just having a walk, reading, sitting in silence.
Yep.
There's loads of different ways you can do it, right?
Yeah, it's having options, and but you made a good point. We do feel guilty, and Sydney's a very challenging place to live and not feel guilty by stopping. You know, everyone's out doing so many things, and everyone's on social media. You can see they're out running, hiking, climbing mountains, they're doing high rocks, they're doing marathons, they're in wellness camps, and then you've got an opportunity.
Or you're sitting at home eating a burger or watching Netflix.
Exactly.
That goes to your psyche.
And it does, and then all of a sudden you're blessed with an hour, and you feel guilty about taking that hour. One of the things I've practiced is that my practice is when I have nothing to do, I do nothing. And it works, and I stick to that. So I also have what I call a drop-down menu of different things that I can do. I can meditate, I can go and have a swim, soak in the salt, walk on the beach. I'll go and have a walk, a sunset walk with my partner, just to relax in the afternoon. And we meditate a lot too, so we make sure that's a priority.
A huge part of it is nervous system, right?
Yep.
If you do any kind of exercise, whether it's Pilates, yoga, sauna, running, whilst it's good for you, you're putting your body into a stressful environment. It's a big thing, particularly in ice baths. I think that a lot of people don't understand that. They get worried about ice baths, and you can have it. People feel like it has a negative effect because it's a stressful environment.
Yeah.
And if your nervous system is in that fight or flight mode, which is good for our overall well-being, longevity, we've got to recalibrate it, right? You've got to bring it back to an equilibrium, and that's the bit that we don't do. And I'd say my life is about 80-20, as in, like, any chance I get, it's gym, it's whatever, it's da-da-da-da, it's run. It's not yoga, meditation, go for a walk.
Yeah.
So how do we overcome that? And because it's hard, I'm in wellness and I know we should do it, can't seem to do it.
I think identifying that it is hard, first of all, and understanding that it is hard, but it is something over time that becomes less hard. Like, I look at my meditation practice, it's never been perfect. But I have to move away from my meditation practice to remind me of how much benefit it gives me. And when I get irritable, maybe I'm not eating the best, maybe I'm overtraining, it usually means that I'm not meditating enough, I'm not resting enough. So this overactive mind constantly wants me to go and do things to numb it. And I think that you've got to have that internal dialogue with yourself going, it's an honesty thing. What is the best thing for me? Am I honouring my body by not resting? do I really need to go and do that extra thing, or should I just go and jump into bed for an hour?
And is the trick the awareness piece, just to be able to sit in and go, okay,
Yep.
just to notice it,
Yep.
and then you can pull yourself back on it?
So I always say this to people, the more I meditate, the better decisions I make, because you do become in tune with yourself. When I'm not meditating, I'm disconnected. And when I'm disconnected, I just try and do things on the fly and on the go. And quite often that's what fast food is. It's food on the go. I'll just do a quick gym session. I'll just pump out. I'll go and run 30 minutes flat out. You do run 30 minutes flat out, but you don't recover. And you do everything so fast, because when you've got a calm mind and you're meditating or practicing your mindfulness or you're rested, everything becomes more effortless. You find time to exercise, you find time to meditate more, you find time to cook the meal. You're more efficient with your work. Everything flows better. So for me, meditation's priority. And then everything else just falls into line.
I love that. Yeah, on the plane down here, I was reading in the, I think it was in Zara, NIMBUS. They had an article around the marathon and they were quoting Alan Watts, who I love talking about,
Yep.
the old philosopher, but his whole thing was around, like, we're so obsessed with trying to be everything all the time, where we actually have to start doing the opposite,
Yeah.
letting go.
Yep.
And by letting go and slowing down, what actually happens is, rather than you losing control and not getting enough breath, things start coming to you more.
Yep.
But that's the trick, taking that plunge to go, I need to slow down and trust the universe is aware
Yep.
that things will come to me.
I think it's interesting you say I need to slow down. You're using that dialogue because it's not being implemented. Like today I was flying down as well, and all of a sudden it came into my mind about meditating, and I wanted to meditate earlier. Normally I would it's not as good, it's not as beneficial meditating on a plane, but I just had some internal dialogue to say, I'm here, I've got an hour flight ahead of me, why not? And I've got my insight timer, I put it on, I put my noise cancelling things in. Now, was it as nice and calm as like my other meditation? Maybe not, but it was quite pleasant. And I just made the most of it with what I had, and it didn't have to be perfect.
Exactly. The Dalai Lama talks about that, about how he do meditation on a busy bus.
Yeah.
And Marshall, who trained me, used to say the same thing. There's no such thing as a bad meditation.
No.
Whether it's 2 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 seconds. And he said you need to remove that sense of guilt of, oh, that wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
You're still in a better place now.
Still a practice.
Yeah, than you were before. And I remember when we did our Whoop project, that we both are wearing ours now, you rang me a few days in and said that you'd tried the meditation tracking on it.
Yeah.
And it showed you.
Yeah, my resting heart rate was jumping far below my normal resting heart rate.
Yeah, so literally within one session, it just proved how meditation actually works. And I did a 90-day reset at the beginning of this year.
Yep.
And 1 January, I didn't think I'd afford help. I'd been through Christmas. I went on this path. And my resting heart rate was about 60, I think, at that point. Now, I did 90 days of just basic stuff, making sure I prioritized sleep, food,
Yep.
no sugar, I think that's it. And by the end of it, I was down to 49, I think it was, what you're having. So when you look at the data, that was just looking at it from the data, and you see the graph. And my heart rate's down there now.
Yeah.
Now, only 3 months ago, even though I thought I was pretty healthy, my heart rate was going 10 beats more a minute.
Yeah.
So you extrapolate that across the rest of my life, it's going to take time off your
It'll shorten your time on the planet. And if you think about what you did, you actually prioritized 90 days. And you made a conscious decision that for 90 days, you were going to try and rest, more recovery, more maintenance work, and it works. And I guess at the start, it would have been, if you had to diarise it all or write a journal about it, would have been challenging. And
5 days.
yeah, it would have been excruciating to sit still. And if you look at recovery, like the last thing we want to do at the end of it, we've done a pumped up session, is then go into a warm down and then a stretch. We just want to get on with the next thing. But
Go home and go through that.
you go home, yeah, so look, recovery as I get older, I just hope it allows me to keep lining up for more marathons, and I'm back doing board paddling, and I want to keep turning up for the community and be able to keep coming Saturday mornings. And I'm not going to get there if I don't do the simple and the basic and the accessible things. The things that before recovery pants, recovery's been there. Ice baths have been there, saunas been there, ocean swims have been there, stretching's been there.
I've been trying to do a walk after a meal, because apparently when you have a meal, the best thing you can do is go for a short walk.
Yep.
Help the digestion in your body. Well, I have a really bad relationship with food, because I always want to eat something before bed.
Yeah.
It's like an insecurity thing. I want to feel full so I can go to sleep.
Yep. And that's a practice in itself to get out of that. It's a practice of not picking up that food when there's a signal saying you should eat.
And the only thing that helped me do that was when I did the 90 day, because I had a goal. That was
Yep.
going to be my other question. Is goal setting an important part of staying in the system?
You've got to have a plan. There's always an argument about when people talk about discipline. I think if you're setting a goal, you need to be prepared that if things don't go to plan or something pops up, like a family member falls ill or something happens, you get injured, and you have to stop it, then don't beat yourself up and go, it didn't work. Or if you do crack and you break the cycle, like start again, who cares? You haven't failed. It's like an alcoholic that hasn't drunk for 6 months, then picks up a drink. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not the be-all.
Just don't stop it and get back into it the next day. And before you know it, another 6 months has passed. You've had one drink in 12 months. So I think it's super important that if you do have a goal, that you have something that's sustainable. You've got all the right information, all the right help. Don't go and completely turn your life on its head. And it's like I always call it going down the highway at 150k an hour and then decide you want to make change. And instead of taking your foot off the accelerator, let the car slow down, then put the brake in. People just rip up the handbrake and then try and turn.
You know, I find that a lot in all kinds of well-being. I hear people go and do psychology
Yep.
or acupuncture or kinesiology, and you go, they might try it once and go, oh, that was the guy or whatever it was, and it was terrible, I'm never doing that again. Well, an analogy I love with all this is the people about eating at foods in restaurants. If you go into a restaurant and have a bad meal,
Yep.
it's not going to make you stop eating food.
No, exactly.
So you need to go back again. You might not go back to the same restaurant.
But you're still going to go out and eat again.
Recovery and health and all those should be the same.
And I think too, like you've also got to look at how you've been living your life and how long you've been living it like that. Because if you've been living a certain way for the last 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to take time to pivot. And it's going to take time not only to make the changes, but then for the changes to kick in. And with maintenance, like one of my biggest challenges with maintenance, if it's yoga and stretching, is that quite often my body feels like a crowbar. And because it's not flexible straight away or it doesn't feel comfortable, then that's an easy enough excuse for me to go, oh, it's not working, I'm too old. But now I see the importance that if I don't do it, it's going to get stiffer, it's going to get tighter, I'm going to get more injuries, and then I'm going to have to deal with not being able to turn up and race again.
Yeah. And you know the interesting thing as well, anytime you do put emphasis on recovery, whether it's a compression booster in here now or a massage, what's the one thing you always say when you finish it? I need to do that more often.
Yeah, and I feel good.
I come out of every massage, I go, why the heck do I not do that more often?
Yeah.
So like your own self.
It's like a sunrise, like getting up for a sunrise. For someone that says they like to sleep in all the time, they see a magic sunrise and they're like, oh my God, it doesn't cost you anything. It just means that you've got to go to bed early, get up early, and it's there for you every day if you're willing.
I had that exact epitome when I was on the top of you, the 440, that winter, I think it was in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
So I picked the right time of year to be on your show. And I remember thinking afterwards, you were wrapped before 5 o'clock it was. And there was plenty of people, this was in Bondi. But I've just got this natural high. And I felt like I could take on anything in that day. And obviously I get that maybe you can't do that every day.
No.
But still, even just throwing it in once a week or something like that, just to totally reinvigorate yourself. Same with the 440 on a Saturday. It might be hard to get out of bed. You never go to the 40 and go, that was a waste of time.
I've never seen one unhappy customer. And look, the truth is too, like I get up early every day. And it's not always easy. And there's more often than not, I don't want to get out of bed. But I've made a decision. I know that I get up and I go and have my dip and I get the day started. It's the best thing for me. So I just remind myself how you need this is good for you. And I just keep chanting that. And on those days my head doesn't want to get off the pillow, I just drag it off. Yeah.
Now, you're very familiar with the recovery that we're seeing here. You're also familiar with the other side of recovery in your own story.
Yep.
Do those two overlap, do you think? Does one help the other?
Oh,
How many years are you on the...
Coming up to 5.5 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, 5.5 years sober. And yeah, look, recovery for me, or sobriety as people call it, it's daily work. It's not so much about picking up a drink, but keeping this thing under control and having tools like recovery and like this kind of recovery, having tools that are accessible, whether it's hot, cold, stretching, pants, rest days, Recovery for me in terms of alcohol is daily practices of mindfulness, breathwork, to calm this thing. And the alcoholic brain tends to make us overthink, talk ourselves down, put ourselves down, worry about things, create stories of things that aren't happening and aren't real. And in order to combat that, I incorporate, and it's even interesting, my relationship with exercise. I'm very conscious of not overtraining when I'm frustrated or having a bad day. When I'm stressed and then putting more stress in the body doesn't work. So I have to look at my relationship on how I train. Maybe if I'm in a shitty mood and I've had a lot on my plate, it's a light run, it's a swim, it's something kind for the body.
I was going to ask you about addiction, because aren't we all in some ways addicted to personalities?
Yes.
And a lot of people should be addicted to good things, which is never really talked about. You don't see someone like, dare I say?
Look, it's that taboo word no one wants to talk about. I know a lot of people in recovery, and I've been this, abstain from alcohol, then you pick up sugar. Because,
Or smoking.
because you're feeding,
Part of your brain.
there's something going on with you. And if you're not equipped to be able to sit with it and then identify what's happening, you need to distract yourself, you need to exercise, you need to find a relationship, you start drinking Diet Coke every day. I think
You can be addicted to good things, right?
addiction's not an issue. It's having awareness around the addiction and going, this is happening, don't know why. There's specialists that can help you, but being able to sit with it and see that things are happening, like you wanting to have a snack before you go to bed, there's just an addictive trait happening there, and it's, okay, what can I do to distract me that would just take my mind off it for a second? I really want to go to bed. I don't really want to eat, but there's something telling me I should.
It's a numbing, I think, as well, a numbing effect, which ends, especially at night time as well. So when you run a business and stuff, you're busy all day, you've got kids or whatever. It's 9:30 by the time everyone's down and asleep. You've got a choice. I could go to sleep,
Yep.
or I could have an hour to myself
Yep.
here, where I'll watch a show, put on the kettle, and I know I should probably go to bed. I'm absolutely fucking exhausted, but I go, this is the only time I get. And then you just get stuck in this loop, and then you wake up a little bit tired, and then you got to have the coffee, and it goes around and round.
Well, it's a reward system. Like you said, you've been up early, you've gone to work, you've done that, now you got to do the family stuff, and you're like, I deserve it. And I've been like that, and sometimes I'll just say, yeah, but do I deserve it? And what's more important? And you're like, I should go to bed and get some sleep so I can get up and do it again tomorrow. And I used to do the same thing. There's no one around, you just sit up, have a bag of chips and a chocolate. And
I used to do a lot better when I was in my playing days in football, because I'd have to go to bed early and I wouldn't drink before a game. I never did. And sometimes it would really kill you, because there could be a 21st party or your best mate's getting married, then there's this book's party. And you have to say no. But always I found the reward was when I woke up that next day.
oh, it's always.
Just the days, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't do that.
Yeah. And I think that's how you got to, like going back to what I said earlier about how I wanted to turn up at the marathon start line. Every time I thought about missing a session and telling myself I was too tired, or not recovering, or not having enough hydration, or, I'll eat that, no one will know. Every time I thought about doing any of those things, I went, right, how's that going to affect the 31st of August? And in that moment, you don't know how it's going to affect it, but I didn't want to be standing on the start line going, not leaving anything for chance. And
No worse feeling.
no worse feeling, and it paid off. I did everything that I said I would do. It wasn't perfect, but I stuck to the plan, and then I got the desired results. I'm still learning as I get older that have a plan, try and stick to the best of your ability, enjoy it along the way, and do the things that you don't want to do, and like you're just going to increase your chances of getting that result.
Yeah, and there's no worse feeling. You standing on the start line,
Yep.
or the whistle blows and you didn't go the whole 9 yards. And
Yep.
That's the worst feeling. Because the minute you're in that last kilometre or ball goes over your head and you think, I don't have it in the tank here, you start beating yourself up. We're nearly at the finish line here. So, literally, guys, in the space of we've been chatting, you could have prioritised your recovery. I want to ask you one last question, Trent. If there was one thing in your day that you would highly recommend for people to focus on recovery, what would that be?
Look, I think having some form of hot or cold therapy every day, I think it's accessible. Like hot and cold therapy, I know you're in the wellness space and saunas and ice baths, but it could be soaking your legs in a warm bath. It could be a cold shower. So I think you need that hot and cold every day. I think I swim every morning. I dip in the ocean, and especially in winter.
And hot can also be a run.
Yep.
Nowadays, it also
I think you need hot and cold therapy every day, and it doesn't matter for how long you have it. But if you practice it every day, your body will tell you what you need.
And now we're here for the weekend. The race
Yep.
is tomorrow. We put Trent under pressure. This is your third marathon this year.
Third marathon this year. Yeah.
Highly recommended for
Yep.
someone of our age. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks, mate.
Now, tomorrow we are doing some recharging
Yes.
in collaboration with NIMBUS and NIMBUS CO in Fitzroy.
Yes.
Are you looking forward to it? What are you going to do? We're doing breathwork, sauna.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to do what's on offer. I think I said to you earlier, even coming into this weekend, the prep hasn't been as ideal as Sydney, but I'm going to take that in my stride. But given that we're going to be doing the recharge down here after the race, both tomorrow and Monday, like I said, when I go back to Sydney, is implementing a plan between now and the end of the year with what sort of training I'm doing and where does the maintenance just fit into it, and having that schedule. I think because my idea is that when I roll into 2026, I have worked out a plan that works for me and done some trial and error, and that my body will feel like I've been kind to it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love your words, maintenance, because we know how to maintain a car,
Yes.
or plants, or the house, but we've got to maintain ourselves. Right?
Yeah, top to bottom.
One last point I wanted to mention as well. We both did the Run Grateful.
Yes.
The 24-hour.
Yeah, with Mark.
And one little tip from me for anyone that's listening, and about that surrendering piece you said about maybe this time I haven't had the same preparation I did for some weeks. But that's okay as well. I remember when I did the Run Grateful, I didn't do a huge amount for training, but I thought I did enough.
Yes.
And then with about 8 kilometres to go, my knee gave in.
Yeah.
And I remember the ego in me, let's say, especially from the masculinity point of view, I was like, oh, you're weak.
Yeah.
You couldn't even finish.
They're doing it, you're not. Yeah.
I never to push through. And we'd gone through the hardest part, 2 a.m. and stuff like that. And I remember Mark White, who was organising it yourself, dude just put his arm around me and said, mate, just surrender to it.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
You know, you're here, you've done the work, you did it. And I walked the last day, and every single kilometre I walked, a different bloke walked with me.
Yep.
And it was actually a lovely moment, because you got a little bit longer to have a good chat. And I found out some of the guys, because there was about 20 of us, and I just thought, you know what, I wouldn't have changed it.
No. And I think when you surrender and it's not about being first or the fastest, and it's just about knowing that you can do it. But you've got to live that, and you've got to practice that, because if you're on your own, maybe you would have stopped, who knows? But when you've got a bunch of blokes around there connecting and touching you on the shoulder, it's a different way of looking at it. And I think that I'd apply that to this side of thing. And if you're not great at stretching, you're not great at yoga, and you're not great at doing all those things which are kind to yourself because you've been a blokey bloke, and you're not one to go and do all breath work and all the things, you know, how do you know until you try? Breath work's hard. Sitting in ice is hard. Sitting in heat's hard. It's not as simple as you think.
So guys, that's the takeaway. Just try, give it a whirl.
Try it.
If you're doing well, great. If you're not prioritizing that, that's okay too. Just get back up on the horse. There's no wrong answer with recovery. We can all do it. And on this weekend with the marathon, we're all going to try and recharge. So we're going to check in with Trent in a few days, see if it actually worked, and see what way you're walking on Wednesday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Easy.
Legend. Thank you.